right kind of education, it's like a weapon. It's your passport to success.
Remind yourself that you're working towards something big.
Your story should be heard, and you should always give wings to your own passion, and then there is a long journey ahead.
Women have never had the ability to dream. I don't think they've ever earned their own money. If you have the ability to do that for yourself, why not?
If I don't invest right now, that means I'm stupid.
Compounding is the eighth wonder of the world.
That, there is this trend of looking down on people investing in it. And I've been guilty of that.
इतना पैसा तो कभी देखा नहीं है, तो it is like कि चलो इधर उधर यहाँ वहाँ. I had no planning in that sense.
These phones have like some secret.
I think this is too honest a podcast, that is turning out to be, and I really love it. I think for the last 2 to 3 months from whatever my podcast I've been on, I mean, the guests that we've had, we've always spoken about Gen Z. We've always spoken about, their version of Gen Z. So their version of Gen Z is they want everything extremely fast. They're not patient. मतलब वो लोग wait नहीं करते हैं उनको blah blah blah. मतलब so many things. All the things that Gen Z is basically about and not about, I don't know. So what I've done today is I've got 3 exceptionally young Gen Z ladies. I think these 3 really inspire me in various ways. I mean, and we've got so I'll tell you in the times of how they've gotten introduced to me in the last couple of years. So first one was Lubna, who got introduced, and I think exceptionally brilliant at this age, very mature for what she's doing, very clear. Lubna, when I see you, when I look at you, I feel like was I this clear in my life when I was your age? And the answer is straight away no. वो तो कुछ था ही नहीं तभी clarity, and it's so I'm so really happy to have you today on the podcast, and you've really accepted the invitation so gracefully despite of your busy schedule. I think really thank you so much. Then we've got Meera. I think don't go by the fact that she's cute and she looks really young for her age. There's a very mature head, Meera, that you carry. And it's really exceptional to see it, to see that combination of IQ and EQ at the same time. And it's really been a great learning for me, because I mean, I'll tell you what, at your age we were crazy people. We did not think so much, but neither did we feel so much, to be very honest. And then then comes Anjali, somebody who's just breaking all the barriers. Chalo, aaj mere ko man hua, I'm relocating into Bombay. I'm starting my own media channel. I'll do something, that really inspires me to do. Incredible, yaar. मतलब, you guys are taking on challenges as if कि हम लोग जैसे वड़ा पाव लेते थे बाहर जाके. It's a Bombay का delicacy है. हम लोग के लिए ऐसा रहता था कि for us that sort of food, and you take on those challenges. So in terms of what I want to now today discuss is, what has your life been till now? So if we'll start with Lubna, Meera, and then Anjali, in terms of how I've just introduced you in that way. So Lubna, talk us through your journey till now. How you've seen life, how you've seen things, and especially your career. How you've thought about it?
Firstly, thank you so much for having me here among all these brilliant people. I'll start from I'm originally a Kashmiri, and I grew up in Punjab, and my parents decided that they focused a lot on education, so they sent me to a boarding school when I was 10 years old, and I was there for a good 9 years in Ajmer. Post that, I realized that if you have the right kind of education, it's like a weapon. It's your passport to success everywhere. And I was like, okay, I need to really study hard. Got admitted at Lady Shri Ram for an economics honors degree. Studied there. Most of my college was online. So unfortunately, I did most of it at home, which was also a good thing in some ways, because I could explore a lot of different domains and industries. So I have done content, I have done finance, I have done product. So I was like, let me see what I want to explore, and got a pre-placement offer from Meesho. was again working from home, then in Bangalore, and eventually realized that I like that. And I also want to explore another category called explore another domain called category. So then I joined Coursera, and again I wanted to live independently. So then I'm in Bangalore that way. So that's how it worked out.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing. I think, Meera, talk us through your journey in the same way. Young, aspiring chartered accountant. I mean, fraternity. Something that we can be proud of
Sure.
on certain days of the year.
Certain days, very important. Now, that's when growing up, when I remember when I was in my school, I was not very academic oriented. I mean, I had a very chill life, never studied too hard, barely passed. And I remember being in my ninth grade. So ninth grade से आते हो तो वो घंटी शुरू हो जाती है that boards आ रहे हैं, now you have to be very serious. And सभी तो ऐसे बोलते थे that boards are going to determine the rest of your life, which I now know is not true, but back then it was. So when I was in my ninth grade, my mom made it very clear to me that financial independence has to be the priority. It has to be a very important goal of your life. And she shared her experiences and why it is super important. That sort of, really made me realize that the academics are important. I belong to a middle class family. My parents made it very clear that, they were going to support me till 2021. And post that, they expected me to be financially independent. So then I started studying really well for my 10th grade. And then, I fell in love with studying actually. And, I started loving being a nerd. And then I joined college. I was topper throughout my graduation, throughout my 11th and 12th boards. And when I was in my second year, I actually started studying for CA, cleared all levels in first attempt. And at the same time, I remember being in my second year when I picked up this book called Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. And ever since then, I fell in love with reading, and it also sort of drove me towards, the world of entrepreneurship and doing something of your own and creating impact because that was what Nike is all about, right? And I got deep into reading. So that had a very big impact on my life, picking up that book. I started articleship at AJ Mohan and Associates. I had a brilliant experience there. I didn't catch for a couple of months, and then I told my principal, "Hey, I don't like this at all." And he was super supportive, a God sent man. So he said that, would you like to, try out IBC or valuation? And I loved IBC and valuation. And then he was also, of the opinion that, hey, when you grow up, do something of your own. And he really pushed me towards seeking industrial training. And I had a brilliant experience at this company called Picharway. I worked with startups from all across the country in every sector. I worked with startups in the US, Dubai, India, you name it. And that sort of expanded the access of my life, right? Because when you hang out with people who are 10 to 15 years older to you, who are, taking risks and trying to make their mark in the world, it really inspires you to be fearless and to, just go out there and do your thing. And apart from that, I also love animals. So I'm also into animal welfare. I volunteer with this foundation called Cat Foundation, wherein we rescue stray animals in distress and sort of take care of them. So my love for animals combined with my need to create impact is what, really fuels me and makes me work hard every single day.
Someday we're going to ask you where you get so much time for, because the rest of the mere mortals are only blessed with 24 hours.
Really makes sense.
So, okay, Anjali, over to you. I think, I want to really understand your journey till now.
So I am a Delhi girl, and my journey started very like clueless. I was very clueless when I got out of my school. I had no idea that in my mind I somewhere had interest in writing and everything, but I had no idea that one day I'll become a writer or a journalist. I had no idea. So after my 12th, when you really step out in the real world, when my parents were like, "Oh, kya karna hai aage?" And I was like, pata nahi. And then at that point, I was like, I really have to put my thought into like what I really want to become and what I want to do in my life. But at that point, I was actually very clueless and I just followed the path my sister was following and did engineering. And that was like 4 years of engineering in Delhi itself. I did my engineering, but after doing something that I really didn't want to do, I realized that iske baad there is no way that I'm going to follow the same path that others are following. I wanted to really, follow my passion. I wanted to understand that what I really like was writing. I wanted to take that, leap of faith and do something of my own itself. So from there, I started. I remember that I had two options at that point of time, that either I can do an engineering job, or I had a random phone call where I had a content writing opportunity. So I had those two options, to do content writing or just take the engineering job in hand I had at that point of time. So I chose to take that content writing job, did it for 1.5 year. I met a lot of creative people there and realized that this is what I really like to do, and this is where my heart is. And they told me that you can also, even if you're an engineer, you can also pursue journalism or study journalism or study what you want to do. There is no bar in India in that sense. So I wanted to study further as well. Then I applied for a lot of colleges at that point, but without any experience, without any that experience in that sort of field. It was not very easy at that time to get that admission in the first go. But I was very determined that no, even if I don't get that admission in the first go, I'm going to get into that only. I still remember, like, there was this astrologer. My family believes in astrology a lot, so there was this astrologer in our family who told me that she has no scope in media. It's better she drops whatever plans she have in her mind. So I was like, no, I don't know, I just want to give it my all for a year, and then we'll see. Scope hai nahi hai, we'll see it later. Right. So he told me like some things I really had no interest in. He told me that maybe you can have your own business in luxury or something, like beauty products or something like that. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not equipped to do that. So for that year, I worked really hard on building my portfolio. I interned a lot of places for that 1 year. When I took a drop year, I interned at a lot of places like Times of India, Aam Aadmi Party, FICCI, and I just wanted to make sure that I have a strong portfolio. For that matter, for the next year, I don't get rejections from any journalism or any media colleges I wanted to apply for. And from there on, I next year I got selected into Xavier's. That was in Mumbai. And इसका भी एक अलग स्टोरी है. मुंबई, आई रियली वांटेड टू गो टू मुंबई. बचपन से ही like वो सपना होता है ना मुंबई जाना. एंड देन especially like this Bollywood and movies and stuff wake up sit that you live your life independently and you have your own house and everything, and you are celebrities हैं आसपास में and everything like that. That mindset तो था ही बचपन से. So then, yeah, Xavier's. I did my PGDM from Xavier's, Bombay. Then, but also it was not like really very smooth after that also, because then COVID happened. I had to come back to Delhi. Then there were like 2 years of again being in Delhi, working from Delhi, but the field was constant. Like I was working in journalism only. I was doing work from home jobs of journalism. But then I realized that my heart, I have left a piece of my heart in Bombay, and I really want to go back with. And at that point, I had no job in hand. When I decided that I want to go to Bombay, I had no job, and I was like कि नहीं जाना है तो अब मुझे नहीं पता है. I have some like freelancing projects etc. I was working on. So at that point, I just told my parents that I just want to go to Bombay and I want to have my life there. And they were like, क्या करेगी जाकर वहाँ पे, मतलब कुछ पता है, कुछ idea? And I'm like, no, मैं एक साल रही हूँ, I have some idea, and I'll figure it out for myself. So at that point, my grandfather really supported me, because he was that person in his generation who took that leap of faith at that point in his life as well. So he was like कि घर से निकलोगे नहीं तो समझ नहीं आएगा कि तुम्हें actual में करना क्या है, हिम्मत नहीं आएगी. So then he really like, motivated me to give wings to my passion and then just go to Bombay, explore the city and everything. And then up to, I think I've been in Bombay for 2 years. And it's been great. I'm working on my own. I'm freelancing. I write for a lot of publications. And apart from that, I've started my own company in content marketing and content writing. So, of course, Jine, we met together, as you became the part of my podcast first. And that was a great experience. We are going to, watch that in the coming month as well. So, that has been my journey till now.
Because I was so engrossed in your story, I didn't realize that, I'm in mute. So thanks so much, for sharing such a story. One thing, that really comes out of this conversation that, three of you we've been having. I'm really admiring your grit and determination of life, you're going into the uncharted territories as if, like I said, Vada Pav, an example or something, like we go out for cycling or going into uncharted territories. So I want to ask two questions. It's an open to all. Jisko pehle answer karna hai, you guys can go about it. One is, where do you get this sort of grit and determination from? So is it because of, your hardships or something like that? And second is, when you start something, do you start with a goal in mind? Like, having a financial goal or a career goal of sorts. So just opening the question.
Then I think for me, my mom, right, and her journey. So, for instance, my mom couldn't finish her graduation. My nanny was married off when she was 16. My daddy was married off when she was 14. So, they never got a chance to, get a basic education. They did not know that they could dream. And that sort of, really fires me up that I have to make up for success of all the women that came before me that couldn't realize their own potential. And apart from that, I get a lot of motivation from my love for animals too. I mean, the animal welfare system in this country is absolutely broken. It's in shambles at this point, really. So, yeah, to, help animals, to serve them in whatever way possible. That sort of really motivates me. I mean, on my days when days are hard and I feel like giving up, although that happens very rarely, but when I don't feel my best, I just think about my animals and, my grandmother and my nanny or my daddy or my mom especially. That sort of really fuels me. And to answer your second question, yes, I mean, I think I have some concrete goals in my mind. In fact, I really believe in writing down your goals in a notebook or journal and like revisiting them every 2 days and to, remind yourself that you're working towards something big. That is something that I do on, weekly or bi-weekly basis.
You can share some of them here. I mean, in terms of if there is any financial goal that you have in your
Financial goal is, of course, buy my own freedom. But apart from that, I'm not a very materialistic person.
But have you
So
put a
everything,
number is what I'm trying to, come at. Have you put a number? Let's
not
say
really.
100
I
crores,
mean,
10
to be
crores.
honest, so, definitely, 100 crores is like, yeah, I mean, definitely. But I don't want to put a number because I don't want to limit myself.
Okay, that's fair enough.
So, I mean, that
Hmm.
way. But yeah, I mean, some of my goals, so on a personal level, although I'm not a very materialistic person, one of the goals is to become a paragliding pilot. I mean, I'm halfway there, but really become a pro at it and to, establish my own NGO that helps animals. But of course, my goal prior to that is to build, as much of financial resources as possible. Because as far as animal welfare system in the country is concerned, um, apart from the legal loopholes, this is where we are lacking.
I think your passion tends to speak for itself. So,
Yeah.
what about you, Lubna, Anjali, and you guys want to talk about it? Your grit, and of course, what are your goals? Have you put a number to it?
As you also spoke about passion just now, so I think what inspires me is the passion. I think that inspires me a lot. Like, as Meera also spoke about, her family. So yes, in my family also, my father is a very creative person, but he never, decided to give wings to his passion. Like he never decided to do something in writing or in the creative field, right? So I think when I decided to follow my passion, I also saw that there are a lot of people who
Hmm.
have that in them and who actually are not able to do what they really wanted to do in life. And I am a very, firm believer that if you do something you really love, then there is nothing that can stop you. So what motivates me is that drive, that and through my own company as well, I just believe that your story should be heard and you should always, give wings to your own passion, and then there is a long journey ahead. And in terms of goals, if you ask me though, so yes, I also believe in writing down goals, but I don't know, I just don't give numbers yet.
Okay. What about you, Lubna? Lubna, come on, you're a numbers person.
So I think, like Meera and Anjali said, right, firstly about the grit and motivation. Uh, India as a country, right, all the women in traditional Orthodox families, they have been subordinates, or it's a very patriarchal society. So women have never had the ability to dream, and I don't think they've ever earned their own money. And when times get tough for them, they have to be dependent on a male. They have to be dependent on somebody who's a male, right? And that by itself is very demotivating, or they don't feel right. And I think just seeing that all across, right, from the best of the families to the worst of the families, right, I just thought that that is like everywhere in the country. And if you have the ability to do that for yourself, why not? And I think, coming to an exact number, I think what I would like for myself, right, is to at least give myself the same lifestyle that my parents have been able to provide for me.
Correct.
Nothing worse than that,
Right.
to at least uphold that.
Right. What about SIPs and all? I mean, you're doing, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I think the day I started earning, I was like, okay, my first salary goes to my parents. After that, the second salary onwards, I have to, start at least investing, not if not aggressively, at least a certain amount, 20 to 30% of my salary, just in a mutual fund that's going to stay there, and I'm not going to touch it like I turn 40 or 50. And then let's see what happens once it compounds. And
Oh, you're
on
gonna be,
LinkedIn, I read,
you're gonna be so rich, that we are going to come to you for advice. Yeah.
on the contrary, we'll all come to you.
Right.
Okay, sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was also saying that, social media has made us so, like, there are so many stories of like Warren Buffett and all these, like, compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. So people are very, like, they want to invest now, no matter what their salary is. Even if somebody is earning like a 5,000 rupees per month versus somebody who's earning like a 50,000, they'll start small, but they will invest.
So what do you guys see in your peer circle? Are they, from what you're saying, I'm getting a sense in terms of they all want to do SIPs. Is it really true?
Yes, I think my
And
friends
It's true.
to invest in SIPs.
okay.
Honestly, all the friends that I have around me are, pursuing some financial cause. So I mean, it is ingrained in them that 5-10%, so they have to invest somewhere. So even if they're not actively investing, it's usually passive investments in the form of SIPs only.
And like, our generation has only seen a bull run. So people are anyway investing. They're like, whether they invest in
Yeah.
SIPs or in like equity, they're just like, oh, you're getting to make like great money in a short span of time.
So, I mean, what does it tell you? Do they, I mean, so when we're talking about only bull run, are they really well versed with investing, or is it just because it's the in thing sort of, just because? So it's like just because everybody's doing it, I'm also doing it. How does it work?
I think to an extent, all these financial influencers that we see on YouTube and LinkedIn, they are having, a big influence on these people because they think that, if I don't invest right now, that means I'm stupid because, everybody is saying that it's the smart thing to do, right? So I think that psychological effect is being, said. So I have a feeling that more than serving the actual purpose of, contributing towards financial freedom or just having a certain set of goals for their saving, it's about, अरे नहीं क्या तो सब बोल रहे हैं करना चाहिए. It's just that rather than having an active goal in their mind.
So when Meera mentions about, these financial influencers, I have this, story to tell as well. So, like, I mean, a couple of my friends are getting married, and what they now see is that they see the financial influencers ka Instagram video or the YouTube videos of these financial influencers, and they see that they're talking about after marriage how this is the part of salary you need to, have invest in something, or this is the part of salary you need to keep it for your leisure or for your traveling, or this is the part of salary, and then XYZ, whatever they are telling through the videos, and they are like really influenced by that, like they're like कि, हाँ मतलब what these people are saying is actually right, and then also I'll be able to save something for the future, and then it is going to work like that. And I have actually seen a lot of people talking about these videos these days, and these videos have a lot of influence on our generation, I would say. And I think some of us around me, what I see is that some of us like take really keen interest in knowing and understanding the nuances of what they're really talking, but not all. What I see.
Is it something where you're saying कि थोड़ा सा FOMO का effect है?
Hmm.
अच्छा.
I
Yeah.
also feel like these influencers have degraded FD so much that nobody is doing FDs. And like our
Exactly.
parents'
Right.
generation and our grandparents' generation literally grew up on FDs, right? And India is like a saving country,
Hmm.
essentially. And now everybody is like, हमें FD नहीं करना. We want to put all our money in mutual funds and equity. And we've been told that you'll get a 10 to 12% return. And हम inflation beat कर रहे हैं. So, that is what we want. And like you said, right, Gen Z is very impatient. So they, somebody who's done a mutual fund, they will open their coin app every day to see कि कितना return हो रहा है,
Right.
which is not how it's supposed to be, right?
Hmm.
It's just that whole FOMO कि, oh, let me see, like I've invested 1,000 rupees, आज कितना हुआ है वो, कल कितना होगा.
I think it's a challenge of technology. Yeah, Meera, what were you saying?
So I was just saying that, you know, in my early days when I was studying for inter 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I remember, so my mom used to invest all her money in FDs only. And then I saw that SM Wala, lecture I attended, went to my mom and I told her, it only gives you X% of returns. No, now we'll start investing in stock market. So I made fun of her. So we are investing in equity. So I also see that, there is this trend of looking down on people investing in FD.
Hmm.
It's like it's not smart anymore.
Right.
And I've been guilty of that.
I think this is too honest a podcast, that is turning out to be, and I really love it. There's a very interesting question from Lakshmi Ranjan that's come up. It's something, I also wanted to ask, but a little later, but I'll just jump it right now because Meera is being so honest with all of us. So why not? So she's asking, what role does planning play in your financial decisions when it comes to big purchases? I mean, when you are so when I look at when I see my wife and me, just going on a duty free, I mean, in the airports or in a mall or something, and all the financial planning and all goes out of the window, and I want that Michael Kors or I want that God knows Louis Vuitton, something like that. So how does it work for you?
Honestly, for me, I am not a materialistic person. I love to travel and I love books. And I'm a budget traveler. So, even if I have to go from Mumbai to Delhi, I can sit 36 hours in train and, can figure it out that way. And I like books, and books are, I mean, cheap. So, I mean, not cheap. When you order 3 books a week, it's not cheap, but still you can afford it. So, I mean, I don't think I'm the right person to answer this question simply because I don't think I've put in as much money as, into any one single thing.
I
Maybe
think
someday
I
we need to
can,
think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lubna.
yeah, I think I can answer this. I think there's a term called penny wise, pound foolish.
Right.
And I think when we see something that we really want, or like when it's like big purchases, I think we just tend to forget and like go with the flow, right? And that has happened with me like multiple times when you're like at a duty free, or like, you're out or you're on a trip, and you're like, okay, I'll just increase my budget a little bit for this. It's fine, nothing will happen. And like instead of like buying like one dress, you end up buying like 3 dresses, and you're like, oh, I'll never come to this city again, who knows.
I completely agree. Guilty of that.
Can expand on that. You two can expand on it. I think Lubna gave a very nice, very nice example. Talk about it. Talk about what you're guilty of overspending in which area.
Okay. Um, I think yes, as she mentioned that, and even you mentioned that there are days when you just feel like that this is something I really want to buy, and then you forget your planning. I mean, yes, even I plan, my money because I'm living away from home. I have a lot to, take care of. So I do plan, even monthly wise, I plan. But when it comes to something that, when I have, I don't know, when I have that surplus of money and I think that I want to buy that favorite dress, or I don't know, if I want to invest in something like a watch or something, I just do that. Sometimes it happens and I forget about all my planning, and then I'm like, okay, नहीं करना चाहिए था, but ठीक है.
Okay, I think that makes a lot of sense. So there's one more question. I think Sakshi Shetty is asked. So Sakshi, this is a brilliant question, especially for the three young ladies out front. So does your digital presence, like social media, online brands, impact your financial goals? Because one is now when you're talking about, okay, I went and I saw. So of course, Meera, you are a hermit from all of these things. So if that happens to you, you can talk to us about it. But what about you? I mean, you guys are the most active on the digital media for your own things, for your own work, and there's so many things that just flash right in front of you, and you just feel like ye to kharidna hi chahiye. And especially the way Zomato also off lately, tells you, pushes you notifications कि आप बिरयानी आज खा लो, आप आइसक्रीम मंगा लो, So does that really affect? Does your decision making really happen because of those things?
It used to happen with me a lot, and I think that I realized that this is not the way to be. When I don't want to order something, then I should not. And Zomato, or be it any XYZ application in my, cell phone, should not impact my decision making. I think no, because initially it used to happen with me a lot, but then I realized that this is not the way to be. So this is what, and Meera, you can continue.
So I was just saying that, as the quick commerce continues to grow, I think, I mean, capitalism incentivizes you to spend, right? But now, I mean, I think this wave has increased that multifold, right? So something that I actively do is I switch off the notifications of these applications, and this is only going to grow, right? I mean, I read that there's a startup called Swish, which is operating in Bangalore, that sort of delivers snacks in 10 minutes. And then there's Flip that is operating in Bombay that delivers clothes in 50 minutes. So, I mean, if you don't build homes around it, and, if you don't simply to your financial goals, or, you don't develop financial discipline, all your Excel sheets, all your plans of, saving X and X by a certain age is going to go for a toss.
So Lubna, you've worked with me, sure, like you rightly said in the start. So what all you've done for this quick commerce and, pull all of us away from our financial goals.
I would tell you what I've done to, stay away from like Zomato notifications and like Swiggy notifications. I live in Bangalore and I've deleted Zomato. I was like, I am not going to do this. If I start ordering in food at home, it's going to become a habit. So, and I think I got Swiggy one at like 30 or 40 rupees for like 3 months. And I was like, okay, this is a great deal. Let me buy this. And Zepto also, I think they offer some great discounts. So I use it, but like very sporadically. I found like local vendors in my area who deliver whatever I need. I was like, I don't want to spend money excessively because the first month that I shifted to Bangalore, right? And Bangalore deposits, as you know, they take up 6 to 12 months of your rent. So after the first month, I opened my Excel sheet and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in like a negative very soon if I don't stop ordering and buying things I don't need.
No, I actually
So
agree. Living away from home makes you do that. I mean, I have also, uninstalled Swiggy, Zomato because of all the notification that used to pop up. And one thing is money. The second thing is you're just eating eating just junk food. I just prefer cooking that way. If I'm living away from home, then yeah, even I can add a skill to my portfolio.
Okay, I think that makes sense that you turn off the notifications, you stop. I think
Mm.
Lubna got one step further, deleting Zomato straight away. I think that's one step ahead, but I think it's in a good sheet. So when you're planning, okay, what do you use Excel or do you use any other tool that is available in terms of, so how do you go about your financial planning?
Uh, what I like to do is I note down my expenditure, like on a weekly or a daily basis, and I see where all I've spent money through my credit cards or like through my normal cash or normal cards also. And then I sit down at the end of the month, see where all I've spent money. And I think living away from home, most of the times it's for an involuntary cause more than a voluntary cause because certain expenses pop up that you have to pay even if you don't want to.
Mm.
So I think that is one. And I think most of that happens on Google Sheets.
You too, I think, when you can crack anything, for you, anything is easy.
Me,
And
planning did not come naturally to me. So what used to happen is now with UPI, you can make payments in like, less than 10 seconds.
Mhm.
So I used to make GPay payments to these vendors as if Google was paying on my behalf. So, I mean, there came a point wherein, I checked my bank balance after 1 week. I used to be afraid to actually check the balance kitna hai. But then I did it after 1 week and I was like, oh my God, from triple X it has gone down to 2X. This is not how it will work. Now, I try to, set some limits for there's SIP. So 10% of whatever, I earn, make sure that, it's going towards SIP. Other than that, I limit myself to probably ordering 1 or 2 books per week. I try. I mean, I usually fail to, adhere to it. But other than that, I have actively, cut down on my expenditure on these quick commerce app and delivery applications.
Hmm.
So my approach has really been limiting my expenditure and having quantifiable goals in my head. So probably I can order I can order 2 times from Swiggy. I can order 1 time or probably 3 times in a month from Zepto or Swiggy, Instamart or Blinkit. So that is the kind of goals that I have. But yeah, I mean, I think I should. I mean, learn from Dubna. Probably Excel sheet is going to be part of my routine starting next month. But yeah.
And like Lubna said, it's not very difficult. You can catch hold of her.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, see, Anjali, all of you guys spoke about, I think, quick commerce. Does Instagram, Facebook, have some sort of, you know, influence on your purchasing decisions or something like that?
Sometimes, yes.
So talk us through it, no?
So it is like if something is coming up in family or some event is coming up and I'm already doing, shopping for some XYZ event that is coming up, then there is this algorithm of Google or Instagram or Facebook for that matter that it pops up all the things that I'm already buying and the new versions or the new brands that are coming up in that. So when I'm already in that loop of making purchases in that line, so sometimes I actually check out those Instagram ads and end up buying from that, but not like every time, because every time you're not looking at these apps or just uh, you know buying online.
Okay. But I think, the rest of the question is that even when you're doom scrolling, but things do come up, right? They do want to push you away from your. So, Lubna, what do you think about it?
For most part of the year, I'm not on Instagram, but when I am, I think these phones have like some secret, engine or something. They can hear what you're thinking.
I
So
agree.
the minute you start thinking about a new pen, it'll show up as an ad. And somehow it's the same exact pen that, you had thought of in your mind, and it'll show up, and you are bound to at least go on that website, if not purchase it. And if sanity doesn't hit you, then you might as well purchase it as well.
Do these things like, Meera, you can also answer this. Does it like stress you out see, come on, we're all humans here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do these things
It
stress
does,
you out
it
when
does.
somebody is living a better life than us?
I mean, see, there are times wherein, an ad pops up on my Instagram. It's usually related to books or, things, tote bags and bookmarks. I also spend a lot on clothing. So a lot of clothing ads also pop up on my Instagram. And what I dislike about the whole experience is, it takes everything inside of me to not click on it and get past it. Then till the next day, I'll, keep imagining myself in that top. And I'll be thinking, yeah, it looks so pretty on me. I should buy it. I should buy it. I should buy it. But then eventually I'll forget. It will appear again. Along with the cycle of not eventually buying that book or that top, it is very tough. And I have been, guilty of impulsively buying things because Instagram showed me something or YouTube showed me something.
Mm.
So, it is something that I really struggle with, and yes, it does stress me out.
What about you too? Somebody's living a better life, somebody's doing something while we are like working or studying the whole day. Somebody is out there in Bali, Singapore, Malaysia, Maldives, having a better life than all of us. Does it really, have any impact?
I think for me, it has now stopped having an impact. I mean, yes, I have been in that phase when it used to bother me a lot that I'm stuck in this interview. I'm stuck in a lot of pieces that need to go out, stories that I need to write and everything. But on the other hand, some of my friends are chilling and they're having fun, or they're, buying these luxury things, and then they're showing us stories of it as well. I mean, it used to bother me, but then I realized that, I don't know, it's a bit spiritual or whatever. I realized that these things should not bother, and I just don't now give much attention to that.
Lubna, are you also go through these emotions like the rest of us?
And who doesn't? It's very natural to feel that way. But I think I read this book called The Psychology of Money, like
Morgan Housel.
ages ago. Yeah. And he had mentioned about how you envy the person who is driving like a really expensive car, right? And not the car itself. So that person can also be a driver in that car, and you would be envying him just looking at him from a distance, right?
Right.
Even though he's got like a ton of debt and he's living that lifestyle through, means that he couldn't have otherwise lived up to with all these credit cards.
Hmm.
So I try to calm myself that way.
That's This really mature approach from what I've seen from the three of you, that, not going into it. I mean, of course, once you get into it, and then having the ways of coming out. I think that's more important than what happened. So there are some comments, that I really want to now drive you towards this. So first one's from Juhi for Meera. So she's saying, Meera, you sound so cool. And she's feeling so inspired after
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
And of course, Lubna, there are two things from Swati and Lavanya, who said that many times, so true, Lubna, many times women feel stuck in their marriages due to marriage problems. These days, I'm happy to see women earning their own money and living independently.
Yes.
So, Lubna, you are really, giving good amount of inspiration to many people. So there's one from Aisha. What about any lesson that, you've known that wish you'd known it earlier? It can be, I mean, because it's a personal finance podcast, let's do it over money. I mean, वो बाकी सबका ज्ञान थोड़ा सा, we can do it later on. So, any one lesson about money that you feel कि यार पहले पता होता ना तो of course पता थोड़ा सा different हो जाता.
For me, it would be, so I realized this last year that I am going to be my greatest ROI. So of course, I mean, from a financial perspective, of course, it's important to invest in all of that. But investing in yourself is also equally important. You're in your early 20s, investing in experiences is also equally important. Because sure, यार, Reliance दे देगी 40-50% returns of 10 साल के or whatever. But I am going to far exceed that ROI. I have to make myself that promise. So whenever, I'm thinking about buying a book for 500 rupees or putting 5,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees into traveling somewhere, so for 70% of times, I choose these experiences and, these investments over investing into some other company or somebody else. That is important. That what is far more important is investing in yourself and making sure that, you give yourself an ROI that is far greater than what these companies will potentially give.
That's interesting. What about you, Anjali?
I think that's a very good point Meera mentioned about investing in yourself. See, now that makes me realize that yes, it is one of the lessons I have learned over time as well, because my profession is like that you need to show up a lot. So it is very important for me to invest in myself first, and then, think about other things in life. But other than that part, one lesson I learned was, of course, about I think that you also mentioned in the podcast we had about was that, whenever you have your salary credited to your account, you make sure that, some percent always goes into investing or savings, right? So that when I started off earning good or pretty well, I never realized that. I was like, इतना पैसा तो कभी देखा नहीं है, तो it is like कि चलो इधर उधर यहाँ वहाँ. I had no planning in that sense, but eventually I learned that no, it is very important to, of course, have some amount of money that is like your safety net as well.
So if you had planned your finances earlier, that would have been
Right.
I agree. We'll come to Lubna now.
I think a combination of what Meera and Anjali said, right?
You
If I
can't
had
copy, first of
no,
all.
no, I'm not copying. I think if I had learned this back in college, right, that as a woman, as you grow older, you have certain responsibilities. So if you start building a secondary source of income, right, that is passive in some manner, when you are growing up and when you're in, just with a lot of family responsibilities, I think during that time you would also need money. So building something in that era, it needn't be, like a unicorn, or it needn't to be, it can also be a very small startup. That's something that you're passionate about, but having a skill and investing in yourself during that time, that can always be a secondary source of income.
I think gig economy allows you all these things, right? You are
Yeah.
able to do different things apart from your day-to-day work, which my generation was not privy to. So when
Right.
we were doing our articleship, we were only doing our articleship. We didn't have. I think by my time, ghost writing had somehow come in. That's how I started, a little bit here and there to pay for my petrol expenses on my bike and also. Uh, Now, there's one, even Mariam is asking the same thing, and I also want to ask you guys is, so this now this can be an advice from you to your peers in Gen Z, is some simple money habits, that you've picked up so that basically आप goals के साथ aligned हो life में, and you are also living. So फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग का ना एक प्रॉब्लम होता है कि लॉट ऑफ अस टेंड टू फील कि देन वी आर लिविंग अ वेरी रोबोटिक लाइफ ना, कि यार ये इतना पैसा यहाँ, इतना यहाँ, इतना यहाँ, एंड देन चक्की pissing and pissing and pissing. So I want you guys to actually bust that myth and talk about it.
I'm saying just one thing that I realized that was very helpful for me was to pay in cash wherever I can. I think that makes me feel very like it's tangible money, right? So you know how much money is going. That, and the second thing is to after I've spent my money on like my SIP and my rent and other expenses, right? Whatever 30-40% is left, उसमें से एक महीना 30% on chilling out, or like, and the next month I can do 40%, right? And the next month I can do 35%. As long as my financial, like whatever my goals are, as long as I've covered that, उसके बाद आपको उस पैसे से जो करना है, do that.
That's a cooler way to look at it. Chill भी हो जाएगा, goals भी हो जाएगा. So what about you guys?
I actively do is, so when you open the GPay app, it shows you your everyday expenditure. I mean, it can give you that breakdown. So that is something that I actively do. Hard draft, yeah, I mean, at least try to do it 3 times a week. I check कि कितना पैसा खर्च किया है. अगर कभी लगता है खर्च नहीं उड़ाया है, then it's like next week so cannot do this X, Y, and Z. I try to adhere to it, but I mean, yeah, like I said, I just try. That is something that I actively do. Like I said, I mean, if I'm making X, we make sure that 10 to 15% of it is invested. Certain portion goes to my parents, and whatever the rest of it is, I can do whatever I want from. Like I said, I value experiences right now. So if I want to buy a book or if I want to travel somewhere, I mean, that money I can use.
Anjali?
I think it's pretty much the similar for me. Whatever the amount of money is left with me after the investments and the savings and giving to my parents and everything, rent, etc. So I feel like that is that is my, I owe it to myself. I worked hard for it. So why not just chill and and of course in terms of planning, I remember जब पहली बार I filed my ITR, so my CA was like इतना you spent on XYZ expenses, and I was like really shocked at that time कि okay मुझे mindlessly पता ही नहीं है कि how much money I'm spending and everything, and then I realized that ठीक है मतलब थोड़ा माइंडफुल होकर के भी स्पेंड करना चाहिए, एंड आई शुड लुक एट व्हाट आई एम डूइंग इन माय डे एज वेल.
I agree. I think, with that, it's 5 and we are nearing the end of the podcast. I'm so lucky, today. I feel so overwhelmed that 3 of you shared your stories so beautifully. And we didn't realize, right? I mean, where the time flew. It's just amazing the way, you guys actually showed up. I'm really starting to now believe that the next generation is, I mean, the 2030, 2040 India moving up is really possible because you guys are actually, there's a confidence, there's a level of confidence, there's a level of financial literacy, there is you're owning responsibilities. I think it's just incredible to see that. And for me today, I mean, I'm the lucky one to watch it live, to listen to you guys and your story. It's just amazing. I mean, the way, Meera, you spoke about how, your GPay is actually, it's a GPay is basically funding you and, you're not funding it. And Lubna, you going one step further and saying that, okay, pay cash. The first thought that I was thinking is, boss, you're from Bangalore, Nandan stays there. Like Nandan's really worked hard for it. You can't do that to him. And Anjali, really, I mean, somebody coming out and following your passion, your dream, somebody was not very clear at the start of what to do, but yet finding your creative ideas and backing it up is just amazing. I would just like to end this today's podcast and say, India is in safe hands with you guys being around, you guys being the torchbearers. We're very happy to have you guys, and we're so proud of you. So thank you so much for accepting the invite today and being a part of this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so much, Junaid. It was super fun.
Yes, it was amazing.
Thank you for having us.